Once upon a time I read Berserk, and ever since I fell in love with manga. I loved it so much that I started daydreaming about making my own one day. And so for over 2 years now I'm constantly rewriting and developing a story. But in all that time I haven't drawn a single manga page, which is exactly why we're gonna do this today. Manga chapters in Shonen Jump, a magazine in Japan, are usually published every week, and these contain around 15 to 20 pages. And if you look at any interviews of mangaka, you might find them talking about how much sleep they lack because of how difficult it is to create this amount of pages every week for years. Oda, the creator of One Piece, does this whole routine for almost 2 decades. Should you search for the definition of build different, you might just find a picture of this man. Now I chose to go for 10 pages because 1, I have a part-time job, and 2, I don't wanna die. To make everything a bit more exciting, I'm going to come up with a story that fits those 10 pages. And the very first thing that I will do is the storyboard. For now, it's all trial and error. I just want to simply see what works and what doesn't. How many panels do I need? How do I structure it? And how much content can I fit into 10 pages? To do all that, I will do very light and quick sketches to indicate what I want in this panel. So the story that is currently flowing in my head is the first panel consists of a female character playing the guitar. I want to introduce her, the world she lives in, and maybe a small story that expands over those 10 pages. Since I can't use any sound design, I will have to think about how I will implement the song into this. Maybe I can do it in the form of a poem and people just fantasize their own melodies in their head when they're reading it. I'm not sure what this character currently does for a living, but I do love a gloomy dark story with a revenge arc. One of my biggest worries for this project though is the style that I'm gonna use for it. I just started getting into manga illustrations and they're very detailed, usually taking a bit longer than a day. And I don't think I will have the time to do all this for 10 pages with countless panels. I'm also very afraid of the world design because I've never drawn buildings. Ever. And I also hate backgrounds, so this is going to be wild. Alright, it's pretty much the end of the day. And I have no idea how I'll be able to finish this whole thing in 7 days. Now, I understand why mangaka don't sleep. Here you can see the storyboard that I came up with today. It's kind of messy in some parts, but overall I think it's quite well. I was honestly thinking more than I was drawing today, so hopefully I can get more work done the following days. Although if things continue the way they are right now, I might as well just stop sleeping. I was at work today, and I used the time to think a little bit about the poem that I planned for this manga. And to make it a bit easier for me, I used the lullaby of Woe from The Witcher 3 as inspiration. Now besides that, it's time to add the dialogue to my storyboard and then go straight to fixing the entire thing, which in my estimations is probably gonna take the longest. Therefore I'll use day 2, 3 and maybe even 4 to do all that. I'm gonna grab my camera and take a bunch of reference shots to speed up the overall fixing process. I also decided to tweak a few things inside the story and clear up plot points that are yet hard to understand. As for example, instead of making the protagonist a witch, I decided to make her a banshee and started reading up the lore. So now that I understand what true pain really feels like, I will use every tool available to me to ease up the work. Yes, that includes tracing. Let me throw my pride out of the window and try to finish this last panel. Also, I obviously won't rely 100% on tracing. What do you think, I'm a bitch? And so day 3 and 4 consisted of fixing up the pages, and to be honest, this was by far the hardest thing I've ever done for a video. After page 3, I pretty much lost all my energy, and I still had to do at least another 3 and was basically fighting my way through these sketches with sheer willpower. Just to be a bit more specific, on day 3, I started drawing at around 10, 11-ish, and I barely finished page 6 at 9 PM. And besides that, what's also quite astonishing is that I have taken more reference pictures this week than I have in my entire life as an artist. And so right now, it's day 6. Yes, I didn't want to, but I had to take a break. After all, I'm not Asian, okay? Technically I am, but not that kind of Asian. I want somebody to explain to me what kind of cheat codes these guys are using. So let me rant a little bit, and meanwhile, I will finish everything up and also show you the before and after of the last 2 days. I feel like a wet towel. The amount of energy I have right now is currently on the same space as a kid with max level depression. On day 4, I have drawn till 10 PM. I have never drawn this long in my entire life. Anyways, coming back to the manga, as you can see, I had to redo some of the panels completely. But to be honest, despite all, I think this turned out really great. Also, if I wouldn't be working a part-time job, this challenge would be a lot easier. Like on average, I have like 16,000 steps here because I'm running around like a bitch. And by the end of the day, after drawing so long, I am physically exhausted. Now in the state that I am right now, how should I put this? I am There's one last thing I want to talk about before I show you the manga in its finished version. As someone who wants to do manga in the future, this wasn't a challenge just for content, but really for myself to dive into the life of a mangaka. I wanted to see if the workload is as massive as everybody's talking about, and that in some cases you even have to sacrifice sleep. And to check that right off the list, that is 100% true. It's devastating. Now when it comes to sleep, sacrificing it doesn't work for me. I can't do it, and I don't think I'll ever be able to live off of 3 to 5 hours every day and function properly as a human being. Yet what's quite interesting is that when I was drawing the panels, I felt so passionate. Like in my head, I was ready to sacrifice sleep. We also can't forget the fact that usually when you create a story, you think a little bit about it before you start drawing it. For this one in specific, I came up with it on a Monday afternoon and had to fix it as I was going. I had no designs, I had no poems, and I had no practices of the characters. So I think if you prepare properly, you will be able to keep up with the big guys without sacrificing your dear sleep. But you will still be sitting at the table all day long. This isn't something like that's for debate. But this is something I take into account and something I would actually do. And as of right now, it's still day 6 and I haven't finished it yet, but I think I will be able to finish it. And so yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. If you include the break, it took me 8 days to finish this whole thing, and yeah, therefore I failed this challenge. The last 7 days, I had no life. I basically woke up, I was working, and then I went to sleep again. One thing that I think is good about this challenge though is that I could really test my limits. Usually I get tired anywhere around 6 to 8 p.m. from working, which is why I never cross this time period. And this week, there wasn't a single day where I stopped working earlier than 9 p.m. And the most interesting thing out of all is that even though I am exhausted, it's not like I need a 3-day break or something. I feel like I just need a good night's sleep and then I can continue drawing. So unless you're obsessed and really passionate about manga, I don't recommend you pick it up. I really don't. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little 10-page manga story of mine and that I didn't fail you guys. So, truly thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.